Thank you, Chair. I'm Najma Perot Lillian, an Administrative Assistant, Park Secretariat.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members. I'm Detective Inspector Chamlabi Janat, CID attached to the committee.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Detective Assistant Inspector of Police, Watch Michael, CID officer attached to the committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. My name is Claire Achan, a technician attached to the committee.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Emao Mikaya, a technical attached to Park.
So, accounting officer, the rest I will introduce. Now it's your side.
Thank you, Chair. We are happy to be here again to interface with Public Accounts Committee. I have quite a big team.
Because you're also a big person.
Yeah, there are those who are here, but I have some reserve force in another room.
I love that.
So whom we may call in as and when we need them. But my name is Vagaya Waiswa, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Works and Transport. Thank you. Let me ask my officers to introduce themselves one by one.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, my name is Samson Bagonza. I'm the Engineer-in-Chief in the Ministry of Works and Transport.
Honorable Chair and members, good morning. My name is Engineer Stephen Chitonsa, and I'm the Commissioner for Roads and Bridges in the Ministry of Works and Transport.
I recall, were you first year when I was third year or what?
Yes, University Hall.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members. Good morning. Miriam Tumukunde. I work with Standard Gauge Railway as substantive as Deputy Projects Coordinator, but I'm representing Projects Coordinator, Engineer Wamburu, who is not here.
Where is he?
He went for other duties. The meeting.
Chair and honorable members, my name is Irwama Musashi Jime, Assistant Commissioner, Accounts of the Ministry.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Waira Ramadan, Senior Accountant, Minister of Works and Transport.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I am Josephine Wasike Onya, Under Secretary, Minister of Works and Transport.
Chair and members, my name is Gatshebe Winston, Commissioner Transport, Regulation and Safety, Minister of Works and Transport.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Kabanda Peter. Kabanda Peter, Assistant Commissioner Planning at Ministry of Works and Transport.
Atim Christine Omoding is my name, Principal Intern Auditor, Ministry of Works.
Come and sit there.
Godfrey Erukwand is my name, the Head of Procurement, Minister of Works and Transport.
You can also join their space there. These are reserve force, Yes, you have the reserve force, but that one we need there on the table.
Nelwega Priscilla, Senior Assistant Secretary.
Yeah, Chair, like I said, I have some project managers in the next room, as we will be joining us as and when we need them.
Yes. So, Accounting Officer, the remaining members of the public and the Fourth Estate. My name is Nandala Mafazi, Chair of the committee. Accounting Officer, you are most welcome with your team. Those colleagues of ours who are in the other side, they will be taken care of, and I'm assigning Lillian. Ensure they have drinks, eat, and tell them to feel free. Again, as usual, we don't look for faults. Our job is to look for accountability and find out what challenges you go through as you are implementing government activities. And if there's anything you want Parliament to do for you, please feel free and tell us. Even the challenges we should share. So, Accounting Officer, today we're going to look at the financial year 2018-2019. But before we do that, we want you to tell us within 5 minutes how you are managing issues of COVID-19?
Thank you, Chair. The Ministry of Works and Transport has been at the forefront in this fight against COVID-19. First, we are members of the National Task Force, which was instituted to coordinate all activities to do with the fight against COVID-19. Besides, we are Vice Chair of the Trade and Transport Subcommittee of the Task Force for the COVID-19. And here we have been mainly involved in the issues to do with the transport. We are actively involved in the printing and the issuing of stickers that would enable people who are essential service providers to move, medical and what have you. We were also assigned the task to mobilize vehicles which were used to distribute food to the people in Kampala and beyond. And like that was not enough, we had also a challenge when the weed choked the dam in Jinja. We were actively involved in that, despite that the movement was quite difficult. In terms of effects, we have been adversely affected by the COVID-19, and this mainly arises from the general fall in revenue collection by Uganda Revenue Authority. Our fourth quarter, which fell at the advent of COVID-19, was a very bad quarter. We got release of funds for only salary, gratuity, and the pension. And later on, we are only given 5.1 billion for capital development instead of 160 billion. So in all, we do not realize around 160 billion shillings, which was not released. So that one immediately put us in trouble because we have unpaid certificates up to now. People did the work, they want to be paid. There are those, after signing contracts with them, they go to the bank and secure bank guarantees. And then these bank guarantees start earning interest. And that interest is passed to us when we cannot pay, when we cannot make the advance payment. So it's really quite hard. We have the unpaid certificates about 30 billion, but we also have contracts which we processed, but we cannot sign them because there is no money. For example, we have contracts of 47 billion, which we are supposed to procure earth-moving equipment for the 13 new districts. We have just held on them, we can't sign them. We processed some contracts for interconnectivity, the tune of 29 billion, we cannot sign them. So it's really hard for us. Movement of contractors was affected. So most of these projects which are being performed have lagged behind. Most of them are now asking for extension of time. And that was really bad. Even when we instituted the measures to give them movement permits, still they could not move in certain areas. The fourth quarter release has not been any better. We were given, for example, 53 billion for capital development, but before we could warrant the money, 30 billion was removed from the system. And that has created us, that is first quarter.
First quarter?
Yeah, first quarter. The performance is also very
Why did the 30 billion get removed?
I think there were some other pressing priorities. So we had to do that 30 billion, so it still leaves us with unpaid certificates and a lot of pressure from suppliers and contractors. We have also projects which are not moving on because of lack of money. So it is really a bad financial we have started. We have also problems with maintenance of the earth-moving equipment. Chair, as you may know, we purchased and distributed 1,150 units for road reconstruction and maintenance to all the districts except the 13 new districts. maintaining this equipment is a problem because of lack of funds. As I talk now, some of them are lacking tires, some of them are lacking batteries, but the money is not there. Like last financial, we managed to get only shillings 1 billion to buy tires, which was a drop in the ocean. So the unfortunate part of it is that the roads infrastructure, of course, has been severely damaged by the excessive rains. But instead of being able to maintain these roads by force account and by the district themselves, the funds are not there, and also the equipment servicing is a problem. So, Chair, briefly, that's what I can say on the effect of COVID to the ministry.
Wow, that's a tough one, huh? We will need to know more about the 30 billion. Then we see what we can, because you need it. Okay. We now move to next item, the Auditor General's report of 2018-2019. Accounting Officer, we want to structure it this way. The first 30 minutes, we want to look at some general issues, which we shall come back to later. Most of this time, we want to concentrate on engineering audit. And we believe that where we cannot conclude, we shall have maybe put another time, or we would have to find a way how to deal with it. I don't know if you have an objection to that.
It's okay, Chair, we can proceed like that.
Thank you very much. So, Accounting Officer, that's why we have our engineer, Auditor General's office here. So we want to start with what was your budget and what were you given and how did you implement it?
Chair, can we present? Can we present our explanation? Yeah. You allow me, Chair, to request our senior accountant, Waira Ramadan, to take us through the highlights of our responses.
Okay.
I think you just instruct when you request and he refuses.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable.
Yeah, you instruct. Because the man might refuse your request.
Let me instruct Ramadan Waira to take us through the highlights of our highlights.
Thank you, Chair. Through my PS, on page 2, we have the table where we indicated that budget for, we had budgeted for GOU 455 and donor 425 billion, total 881. And then we received 1 trillion 063. The increment was because of the money we got to purchase the bombardiers. The difference between the 881 and the 1 billion 063.
Did you use the difference was it a supplementary?
It was a supplementary towards the purchase of the aircraft.
You have bought them?
Yes, we have bought 4 aircraft.
Okay, go ahead. So now you have to deal with, you got whatever, at least you have now the supplementary, you bought the planes. What about the other? What did you do with the activities?
Can we go to the next item, Chair?
Okay, on page 4. There was an item on planning and budgeting. The Auditor General had advised that the accounting officer to annually prioritize the budget for all those priority interventions which were proposed in the National Development Plan and our response was that the annual budget for the ministry was aligned in the NDP2. Over 90% of the development budget is allocated to NDP2 priority interventions. However, the ministry can only do so much based on the available annual resource envelope. The ministry continues to engage finance to increase its funding as well as approve new projects. Also, the ministry will use the current preparation of the NDP process to harmonize the indicators as advised by Auditor General. On page 5, the Auditor General advised the accounting officer to develop a more realistic budget to avoid significant deviations from the annually planned activities. And where the variations are inevitable, reallocations should be sought in accordance with the established procedures. In response, as noted by the auditors, the ministry faced various challenges during the year, which included budget cuts on deemed consumptive items. During the budgeting process, the Ministry of Works final budget for the planned field activities like travel inland, travel abroad, allowances, workshops and seminars, adverts, etc., were deemed consumptive and consequently reduced by Ministry of Finance. Some of the expenditure pressures on the items where cuts were affected as detailed below. The first one, monitoring and supervision. The ministry contracted so many projects for roads, road repair and new road construction under roads and bridges and force account. The technical staff carry out routine monitoring and supervision to certify works done and compliance measures. Since the budget for travel inland is low, the travel costs could not be charged on the roads and bridges, hence the diversion. Number 2, national functions. The ministry is mandated to organize and manage the national functions, including but not limited to providing tents and chairs. The ministry pays facilitation to their staff who get involved in preparation, and the allowances are picked from either those items of workshop and seminars. Number 3, earth-moving equipments. The ministry procured earth-moving equipments which were distributed all districts of the country. The ministry carries out supervision for the proper use of the machines. The officers who carry out this activity may be facilitated from the earth-moving equipment item of maintenance. The 5th one, travel abroad. Uganda was chair to East African Community for the year 2018-2019. The Ministry of Works and Transport with the technical staff were therefore required to attend and also chair many community meetings and events. Facilitation for their travel could be charged from those items of training. Besides, there was a lot of international meetings and conferences on matters where the ministry is a signatory. As a result of the above challenges, management was constrained to fully adhere to the approved budget, resulting in the apparent diversion. However, management noted the audit recommendation and has implemented the various administrative controls, including adjusting the approved work plans whenever we receive directives to carry out unplanned activities, and seeking reallocation to accommodate expenditures on the relevant items and sticking to commitment to control system. Annex A has the correspondences we have between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Works. It should be noted, however, the expenditure was carried out on items that were greatly underfunded, and there was no financial loss which was incurred. In addition, management is implementing the recent IFMS enhancement on invoice approval and payment process, where heads of departments are part of day-to-day approval of expenditure in their respective departments on the IFMS.
So, accounting officer, maybe we have to pause there a bit, eh?
Yeah.
We'll start with the first one, revenue. You have explained the difference in the planes.
Yes.
Now the outputs is where we want now to start from before we deal with. Because the outputs were from the work plan we had made, which was approved. And from there is where the diversion is arising from.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, before we go very far, I want to find out whether Ministry of Works has a different law when implementing the budget. Because whatever we are seeing here, we must be relating to the laid down guidelines. If it is different in the Ministry of Works, that's what I want to find out.
Chair, we don't have different guidelines. We use the same guidelines contained in the law, Public Finance Management Act, and the instructions issued from time to time. However, Chair, like we're trying to explain, there are instances when you find yourself between a rock and a hard place. You have an activity which must be executed, and you may have to move some money, like you are borrowing, so that maybe when you get sufficient funds, you will do it. But in the process, given like what I've told you that we lost over 160 billion, which was not released, it really puts us in a very hard position.
Yes, accounting officer, we understand. Now, what is happening here? Of the 700 and your budget was 718. Wasn't it 718?
That's what we received. 718. Budget?
And you got all of it.
So, budget?
Yeah, deal with it. Yeah. Answer.
We received the budget in total is 881. Revenue, budget revenue. GOU for 455.6 and donor 425.4. Total is 881.
We received 780.
Receipts
780.
GOU we received 718.3 and donor we received 344.8.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we're trying to say is the GOU you go to the entire money.
No. We didn't.
No, okay, you look at page 19 of your accounts.
Page 19 is okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's true.
But that includes
And we are even worried. We are not seeing the bombardiers here. This is what are they called?
Bombardiers.
Oh, they are there.
They are there.
You see, initially was 455.
Yes, please.
You got total receipt is 718. See ya?
Yeah.
So it means you got the entire money from GOU.
Yes, please.
Let us agree from there first.
Okay.
Before we go to the donors.
Okay.
Accounting officer, can we agree first step now? We got all the money from GOU. Accounting officer, you're so guarded. Apparently, we got all the money. Okay. Now, over this, we remove the money for bombardiers. Let us remove that. So it means we have a balance of 455.6. Do we have that? What deal with the government of Uganda? So, over the activities we had agreed, with that money, what did we do?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, on the copy of the accounts,
Yes.
there is a statement for performance.
You tell us the
I'm
date.
looking for the date, then I tell you. Page 9, on copy of our accounts, page 9. It summarizes the by project what we did. That under transport, road transport, we had 100% civil works complete for Okokorio Bridge, Kavuga Bridge, and Saka Bridge. Number 2, 95% of cumulative progress of the project for upgrading of bitumen standard at Nyakashura, Gahire Road, Nyakasharu, Gahire Road in Ruzizi Town Council. Number 3, 90% cumulative physical progress achieved on rehabilitation of Old Kampala Road and Station Road in Mityana, 2.3 kilometers surfaced and drainage constructed. Number 4, 96.13 of availability road equipment from Japan attained. Number 5, 20% of construction works of 6.04 kilometers of Gulu Municipal Road completed. Number 6, 950 kilometers of interconnectivity roads rehabilitated in selected districts. Number 7, 292 kilometers of roads under force account opened, compacted, and gravelled. Number 8, 87 road camps surveyed and the plan produced. Under air transport, we bought 2 bombardiers. And
Just before you leave this, at least a percentage we have understood.
Yes, please.
There's a difference of 510. What about where you are saying 950 kilometers? How many were you supposed to do? And that what goes. So let's that we deal with that. The problem. Oh. The problem with the book. You store it. It's okay. No problem. No, it's okay. No problem. Don't worry.
Mr. Kalanda, you have that one? How many kilometers are you supposed to?
What is it? You even take the other one to write their names, those in the other room. Right. So, do you have the details?
Honour Chair, I don't know, I don't want to help them, but since we sit on the Committee of Physical Infrastructure, before they bring, we had agreed that at least every district, 5 kilometers, 5 to 10.
We're not bothered about the district. For us, we're
Yeah,
saying,
when you multiply with the districts,
No, we can't do that. For us, we
they
are-
can bring.
In fact, 5 kilometers in Butaleja cannot equal 5 kilometers in Siroko because Siroko is a hill. So you cannot say that.
Yeah, you could give us a bit of time to look for it.
Okay,
Maybe I should
so we
move
have
some
now
of it.
issues of 6, of 7, of 8.
Thank you.
Altogether.
Yes, please.
We have issues because we don't know what was the planned activity and at what cost. And at what?
Yep.
At what cost?
Planned
And what did we?
and the cost. Then
What did we get and achieve? That's good.
Okay.
Fine. That one we have agreed on that. Now, this road sector, the 5%, the 10% missing, What caused it to be those percentages?
Chair, it may not be easy to score even in an examination. But let me ask engineer in chief to add something.
Accounting officer were not saying you should have scored 100%, but you were saying, for example, one, you scored 100, what? You should tell us why. That one you got 100%, and the others you never got what? And that's why we said today we're looking at engineering more. Okay.
Now, Chair and honorable members, I don't know the exact details of what caused the delays, but generally, when we are implementing construction work, the delays mainly come from one, weather. Weather is normally a problem, but this is general. We would need to go to the specifics. Two is the way the resources flow. Resources in that the first resource is money. Often we lose time because you don't process this money and avail it to the units doing this work if it is a post-account unit in a timely manner. Some of the delays arise from delayed procurement of providers, or even when you have providers, delayed delivery by these providers. You will issue a call of order, but even when you have issued a call of order to a provider to supply maybe cement or gravel or whatever, sometimes they don't deliver the way you would want to deliver. So the main causes of delay is weather and the flow of resources to the implementers. Those are the main. But when you look at those specific cases we are talking about, Mr. Chairman and members, you may find there might be other reasons specific to those cases.
Okay. You know the reason we're looking at it, because we want to establish what before we deal with diversion, what was affected. We're trying to dig down, then we'll come there. So we have agreed that where there are these differences, they are going to be filled with the full percentage. The variance, what was the cause and at what cost. This one we shall allow. Is that okay, accounting officer?
Fine.
Okay. So now, is there anything to have from us on that?
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to make an observation that maybe we can't spend a lot of time on these queries because you've been with the queries and you came knowing that this is an accountability committee where they are talking about diversion of funds. You could have used these funds for some other purpose. And you know the law directs you that you must seek approval. Let us just receive that as the law guides so that we don't spend a lot of time.
Chair, this is regulated, but like I said, we find ourselves in very hard situations. And a reallocation has a time limit. If the funds have been released for the quarter, you cannot seek reallocation.
No, you can't get retrospective.
Honour Chair.
Yes.
Honour Chair. I don't want to seem to be defending the ministry, but when you go to section 1 on diversion, item 1, on the monitoring and supervision, the accounting officer is explaining that part of the money was put for monitoring and supervision. And the money came from the roads and bridges item. And Chair, they were monitoring roads and bridges. I think this is where, accounting officer, your planning team should come on board, even where we are going with the engineers, the issues of inadequate design. So, Chair, I'm not saying they did well, But for providing money for supervision and monitoring, Chair, for me, I think they had to do it because without monitoring and supervision, the quality of work, and indeed they got from Bridges, if they got from Bobandia to supervise, it would be a problem. But if they got from Roads and Bridges to supervise the same things, instead of money going to the contractor, part of it they give to the technical people to supervise. For me, I wouldn't have about the law.
Mr. Chairman, is the
Madam
member
Chair,
responding
Honour Chair.
on behalf of Minister
Honour
of
Chair, I'm
Works?
submitting.
Is he explaining?
Engineer Orusaka, we want to give you a chair. You want to sit there at that door so that you talk.
You
better.
defend it.
Honour Chair, I'm explaining
No,
as
no,
a
you
member of
can't
this
explain.
committee.
I think you are going to be the other side now. Why didn't you explain to us later? So now, from now on, you are seated there.
No, Chair, I can't sit there.
Then if you can't sit
No, Chair, what I was saying, that I'm not saying they did well, but Chair, to get money from Roads and Bridges, to supervise the roads and bridges.
So you want to look very good in the committee.
No, I'm not looking good.
So
But
that's where bad.
Chair, you are not bad. She's reading the law. There is what we call an ideal situation and on ground situation. Thank you.
Can I give the member some information, Mr. Chairman?
Give him.
When Ministry of Works is planning to do some of these projects, they also plan to do inspection and monitoring. And there are funds for monitoring and inspection. You cannot say you diverted money for monitoring and inspection. I think if it was an emergency, say in Ibududa, and there was something very urgent, then we can say you can explain that. But if you diverted money to buy a vehicle, I don't think that is an emergency.
Chair, I agree with the member that the money was there for monitoring and supervision, but it's not enough. We have executed over 67 lots of interconnectivity roads, and we have to send officers there to do that monitoring. We have also to monitor and inspect force account works, and that involves a lot of movement up country. And like Honorable Orusaka is saying, we have done.
No, Orusaka is your staff.
No.
No, Chair, I'm not staff, accounting officer.
I wouldn't like to admit in this.
Chair.
No, let the accounting explain.
No, I'm not the staff.
We have done quite
accounting
well.
officer through our chair. I'm not a staff of ministry. But Chair, the rains which rained last time.
Just 1 minute, let him finish, then you
Yeah.
Let the accounting officer finish. Yes,
Yeah, Chair, what I was adding is that to show that we really minimize even the shoulder works, we have done quite well on interconnectivity. Our contractors have been supervised, and Force Account has done quite good work. If you go out in the field, you'll see.
Chair, what I was saying, the supervision visits may be 10 planned, but the day you go to do work, you find that what the contractor has done, the rain has demolished and you have to go back.
Accounting officer, you know we're going for a scientific work. When it ends and the engineer or misses this side, you have got a new staff.
Chair by profession is an engineer, so.
Accounting officer, I think we must find a way out to exit here. Now, let us do a quick one. 1.3 was talking about standardization, lack of standardization of indicators. Then we'll wrap up everything. The inspection was supposed to be for 600 600,000 vehicles, but you did only 50,000. Is that what it means? The vehicles. What does this mean? Were you supposed to do 600,000 vehicles, but you did 50? You're supposed to have inspected 600,000 vehicles, but you inspected only 50 what? Thousand.
Chair, that would mean underperformance, but there is explanation for it, and I'd like to request that to direct Commissioner Katushabe to come in here and throw some light.
Thank you, Chair, and the honorable members. The 600 mentioned here was the target for 5 years. 50,000 was an annual target as per the ministerial policy statement. So I think maybe there was a mix-up, but the 600 should be over a period of 5 years. 600,000.
The 600 is for
mandatory motor vehicle inspection services.
For 5 years.
Yeah. Under NDP2.
Chair.
Just let us deal with that. What General, we check our record. Just want to check our record.
Chair.
No, let us finish that.
On that very one.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I don't want to believe with the Commissioner. It might have been for the financial year, but I remember when the SGS saga came, they were overcharging people money, and we didn't know as a committee of physical infrastructure why they are charging. In fact, some of us went and told people not to take vehicles. You remember that saga? Though they will bring, but I remember that saga is where we told our borders vehicles, don't go there. And that thing, Chair, is still on the floor. And the minister has come and we are just going to present. That one could explain the underperformance. But to cross-check with the data, I have no problem. But the reason was as MPs, because, Chair, they were charging borders, CG 48,000, and you charge a bus 800 shillings. That's why we halted and we told our people not to go. This one partly explains, but as you have directed, Chair, let them cross-check. But the reason, in fact, I don't know where these 50 people came from, because we had directed our voters not to go.
Maybe to make further clarification, Chair, through my PS, when you look at the two figures, these are just at planning level, not performance level. So the 600 was a target for 5 years under NDP2. The 50,000 was annual target under the MPS. But as the Honorable Warusaka said, of course, during the process of implementation, of course, this was affected due to Parliament deferring the inspection exercise. So this is just a planning figure. The two are planning figures.
If I divide 600,000 by 50, I get 12.
Yeah.
I get 12 years.
Yes.
So how can 600
12 what? 120,000.
Let them cross-check, but this one, as the Chair has directed, we just need to cross-check. Others, I don't want to argue, because when you take Chair through figures, he's a consultant. When you measure 600, he will just divide. His 6 level is high. So, Commissioner, I think the way the Chair has said, you just cross-check. Others, when you take him into figures, you'll face it rough. One accounting officer, advise your technical people not to take Chair through figures, because you will not get out of those deep holes. Thank you.
Commissioner, you want to keep trying?
Chair, the issue here is not about to.
Chair, we agree that we check on the figures, but as we proceed.
Musana, also check outside. Check outside, otherwise this shows failing on day one. Planning to fail from day one. But let us cross-check and deal with that. Okay, diversion. We have been talking about diversion. We have an appendix attacked by Otajeno, which we want to quickly run through. This one is good. Have you seen Otajeno?
This is one thing, but you know, because we're starting, so we will recover from there. Yeah.
The Auditor General has put the appendix, implementation of activities, and the version is on page. Yes, no, Auditor General. On page 19. What again is that the page?
Yeah, I know. For us, it is on page 59. Our responses. Page 59.
Okay. Yes. We quickly run through. Yes, page 59. Yes, go ahead. The Auditor General says, we budgeted 2.7 billion. We gave you 2.3, but you never achieved it. So where did you take the money?
What was the reason this 2.3?
That is for road safety. That is support to computerized driving permit. Isn't it? You want type. The computer. Where we are?
Yeah, Chair, there was we intended to set up this building at the Transport Licensing Board premises. But later on, whereas the premises were not suitable, so we changed to go and do it at Uganda Railways Corporation. So there was a delay to execute.
You went to build where?
Uganda Railways Corporation. We have sufficient land there. That's where we want to put that office.
You have built there?
We are intending to build there.
Mr. Chairman, let the accounting officer explain to us. Had you planned this project for a certain site and then you shifted, and how much money had you already spent?
The money we spent was mainly for drawing the architectural plans.
So you drew architectural plans?
Yes, please.
Yeah, but when you are drawing architectural plans for a certain site, you cannot shift the same to another site because the location may be different.
Indeed, it is different, and the architectural plans attracted even some more resource, will require some more resource.
This is what I'm saying. That's why I asked, how does Ministry of Works operate?
Let me ask Commissioner Katishabe to come in here.
Mr. Commissioner, come in.
Okay, thank you, Chair and members. Through my PS, as explained, of course, we had looked at a number of options in terms of having these offices. Maybe quickly to give a background, right now, you know, the current service provider has rented premises at Chambogo. And this Chair and members, we actually we are implementing the recommendation of PAC, previous PAC recommendation, that we should have office.
Don't worry, Bagonza and the vice are having their own inter.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I thought I was to wait until the
No, it's okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, Chair, we looked at different options. One was whether we should buy extra land or use the existing land to build the offices. So the area that we are looked at were Entebbe and then the former transport licensing offices. Of course, we did a cost-benefit analysis and we found that it's easier because people would not move to Entebbe to pick these permits. So we zeroed on the Transport Licensing Board offices. In the process of implementation, of course, there were a number of studies made, and we found because internal affairs, they used to use the upper gate, then they open the lower one, and then there is a police workshop, and we realized that because we want to have what we call a one-stop center, because this building, Chair and members, is not only going to be catering for driving licenses only. We are looking at all regulatory offices and licensing functions. So the issue was that now if you bring at near the ministry, near the police workshop, all people are going to register their vehicles, renewing their driving licenses, getting licenses for public service vehicles, then there will be a gridlock in terms of movement of vehicles. So in the wisdom of the top management, there is land where we've been doing some archiving for the driving licenses as a stopgap measure. So TLT directed that land should be looked at, and the URC was willing to give us that land. So we requested the consultant who was going through this process. Of course, as the PS said, there was a slight variation in terms of the cost, about 192 million. And this is what happened that brought in this change. Nonetheless, these other outputs which were under the same area, ICT equipment, automated licensing system, and the archiving went on as planned. So the only thing that changed here, Chair and members, was the issue of the site where the one-stop center is supposed to be.
Mr. Chairman, when I look at the amount of money we are talking about, I think we need to stand over this query and get a report on this specific one so that we understand it better.
Maybe a quick one, Chair and members. Part of this money was for the consultant. So it's not that
No, that will come in the report.
Okay, we can do that.
Accounting officer, if you look through, it says, number one, contractor for new office premises for UCDP. What is UCDP? Uganda Contract Driving Permit, procured. You procured. But then what you say, partially achieved scheme designs and a concept for the one-stop something, altogether. Now, if you go at the next one, 10% construction, none done. You understand? And
This
yet
was
you have,
what was expected.
that's what was, but you had got a contractor.
No. I think what these were plans. These were plans.
No, but you look up here. Contractor for new office premises.
That was the plan.
That was the plan.
Output, planned activity amount, and activity delivery.
Mr. Chairman, I still insist. We are looking at 2.3 billion.
Okay.
So I think, Mr. Chairman, it is important we get a full report on this.
Yeah, Honour
Chair, we shall provide a report.
Submit the report.
Okay.
Honour Chair, I want to agree with the Honour Mayanja. But Chair, Ministry of Works is full of engineers. how do you give consultants to design the drawings which you can design yourself?
No, they are for engineers of roads, not buildings.
No, there is a department of building.
Oh.
Yeah, Honour Chair, as we get the reports, but PS, you have roads people.
I don't find out from the PS.
No, the civil engineers can handle buildings and what specialty.
Go ahead.
So, Honour Chair.
No, you have made your point.
Yeah, since they already have a commissioner, buildings, architects.
No. Let us the accounting.
So, but
officer.
since Honour Namayanja brought an issue of we look at the report, that's where we should go in deep details.
Accounting officer, you only have road engineers.
We have a department for public structures, which has architects, quantity surveyors, but the internal capacity is still lacking. But we are moving towards that direction, that eventually we can be able to do these plans ourselves.
Engineer in chief, is it true? These years you have been around, you cannot build capacity?
Chair and honorable members, through my PS, the issues are capacity, as he has said, but capacity not in terms of experience, in terms of numbers. The structures we have in the ministry and that department generally, for example, you will see that the architectural division, if you go there, you will find that you don't have more than 10 architects.
How many buildings do they design every year?
No, not that.
No, you see.
You know, we provide technical services to the entire government. So you will find that one architect is involved, first of all, in supervision of about maybe 5 projects, as he's part of a design team in about 5 projects. Now, if you say you bring some of this work in-house, it will suffer. You will be overstretched and you do the efficiency.
You see, accounting officer, the reason we're raising it is not for any other ministry. It is for the ministry, the owner of the engineers.
Yeah.
Chair, the problem emanates basically from structured adjustment. When we went through the structuring, they said, look, the ministry, let these activities be privatized. The ministry can only be there for policy guidance and the supervision and the monitoring. So that's why our capacity was eroded.
Oh, no, Chair.
No, but even if it's
I don't
eroded,
want to
on
agree
this
with
one,
yes.
your supervisors would have said, this is our only baby. Let us sit on it and work on it.
Oh, no, Chair.
And you see what will happen? You would use all the knowledge and cut on a lot of expenses, which will make up, and by that will be one of the examples why you would need internal capacity in government to deal with this project. Otherwise, if you do like this, now everybody says, works.
Honour Chair. Honour Chair. This time, though you said I belong the other side, now let me belong this side. That I don't want to agree with the PS and the engineer. The Bible says, if you cannot feed your own family, now you want to go and help other ministries when you as is dead. I think PS, this one you just have to apologize. Because you can't go and supervise the others when you are owned.
I think there is nothing for me to apologize. We are doing this work, even down there. We are there.
Chair, we have not refused. Yeah, they are there. But Chair, what we are saying...
that is staff of URA.
Chair, can you protect me as I submit?
Put on the microphone, then put on the mic. You are here.
Oh.
Chair, through my PS, we are down here.
Here?
We are part of the team supervising Roko.
Where you have made adjustments.
We are part of the team that is supervising the PPDA building. We are part of the work that the Uganda electricity regulation, these UEB companies are doing. All the government buildings that you see, our staff are there as part of the team that are either designing or supervising the work.
Yeah. No, on this one here, if you are there, you are part of these adjustments they are making every day here.
Yes, I know there are issues. There are issues here with we are here.
Oh, no, Chair.
But we are working under the guidance of the accounting officer in this block.
Oh, no, Chair. Yeah. Accounting officer, whenever Chair asks you something, don't go into this building because you may not get out. I advise when the accounting office, when the chair says this, kindly dissociate yourself, otherwise you'll be, whatever he asks, he has data. But otherwise, chair, this one,
Okay, accounting officer, this one we need a full.
as a commission is the one who directs the diversion. Yeah, the commission says do this, and in writing.
Okay, it's okay. Let us move on.
But procedure, chair.
Yes.
Honour Chair, when we started, you heavily guided that we are handling this in 30 minutes. And you said we are going to look at the engineering audit. And that's why I drove from Butaleja, from the Secretariat, and you're aware we are electing SEC. And being a national overseer and agent for Madam Speaker, I have to be at the headquarters by exactly one. So, Honour Chair, can we, the procedure issue I'm raising, are you proceeding well when we have already exceeded the 30 minutes by 17 minutes, according to your guidance?
It is, we're proceeding badly because of you. You became a member of staff of works. That's why you delayed us. Accounting office. Auditor General, this Appendix 1 is very good for us. And we would need to work with the Ministry of Works to give us total reports on each of these. The first one was computerization. The next one was transport infrastructure. Another one was East African trade. Then the new standard rail gauge, which we were very interested. Entebbe Airport, Kabale Airport, Uganda National Airline Project, up to the end. Now, the reason why we're putting this, because that's where the diversions took place. Now you have gone.
I'm coordinating. The way you were busy yesterday.
So we'll need reports on this, but before we do those, we needed the accounting officer to clear this book so that you go when we understand the position. On page 14 of your accounts, domestic areas, because it's a query. Have you seen page 14, domestic areas? Are we together? The Auditor General is saying the domestic areas dropped from 68 billion on page 4 of the Auditor General's report. On page 4. Domestic areas dropped from 68 billion in 2018 to 27 billion. Are we together there? Yes. That shows that you paid 41 billion, 41.3 billion. Do you agree? If indeed you paid 41.3 billion, when you go to page 17 of your accounts, you know we have Auditor General, we have your accounts. Let us say Auditor General will be book number 1, your accounts will be book number 2, your responses will be book number 3. So we're now on book 2. On page 17, book 2. Domestic areas paid is how much?
6.2.
How do you reconcile?
Through my PS, Mr. Chairman, when you go to our accounts.
No, let us first deal with the cash flow. Cash flow is where money went through. And you paid 6.2 billion.
Okay.
And for us, we're seeing here you should have paid 41.3 billion.
Okay. Through my PS, during the financial year 16-17, that is the first time we recognized in our books of accounts the 63 billion. And 63 billion, 30th June 2017. If you look at the Auditor General's report.
Yes.
And in the subsequent year, it is 68 billion.
Yes.
And in 2019, June, it is 27 billion. We have a reconciliation of how the 27 comes in. 63 up 27. It is in our accounts here on the statement of outstanding commitments.
We're there. You are talking of reconciliation statement about what page 38 of book 2.
Yeah, it explains how we reached up to 27.
No, we're there. So we're going to reach there.
Okay. Page 38.
We have also looked at what it is.
Okay. On page 38, we have the 68 billion. Then adjustment previous year commitments. When we did the reconcile between 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, the figures which had captured as domestic carrier of the 63, there were various suppliers and contractors who had threatened to take us to court between those 3 years. So we would write to finance, we have the correspondence, they would give us additional cash, then we paid. The figure which you see in the cash flow is the actual release they gave us for that financial year, June 2019. They gave us 6.2 billion. So the 50 is the previous year between 16, 17, 18, and 19. The actual year which we paid, as if you look at page 38, is the 6.297 actual money paid. This 50 was an adjustment. When we went through at the Auditor General's office, they advised us to, since we had already paid, to offset what had been brought forward, reduced from the 63 to 68 and 27. The 27 billion we have here comprises of one areas for URC, 14.4 billion. Then the other 11 billion is the money which accrued, and we have a breakdown of the 27 billion.
That's why I asked the other lady to sit there. Now that's where we're going to her. Yeah. That's why, that's your reserve force. She must help us to understand what is this. Because the internal audit has a function. And the law says the internal auditor will assist the accounting officer to ensure that the internal audit controls are in place and efficiently working.
Thank you, Chair. I actually reviewed these accounts and I raised the same issues. And I think I have the report. The response still, I wasn't satisfied, but I raised the issue.
Chair, the gist of the matter is you have unpaid bills and the people have approached their lawyers, they are taking you to court. So there are instances where we could use some current resources to pay off a domestic carrier to avoid being taken to court and negatory expenditure, which would accrue from
accounting
interest.
officer, what we are saying, we wanted the internal auditor to give us a report. What it is showing here, it is showing there was air supply. Either it is air supply or what. So that's why we wanted the internal auditor to assist us.
Chair.
You look at page 38.
Chair, was there air supply?
Yeah, just listen. Opening balance. So the internal auditor must help us. No, we're not. You depend on her. Eh?
Yeah.
What did she give you so that you should pay? How to get it? Because before, when you paid, or when somebody, you see, this is a recording. A recording means you record as the transaction moves. So then when it is recorded, your internal auditor confirms. Then you say, okay. Are you getting it, accounting officer? That's why we said she must sit there and she must explain to us. Yeah. So accounting officer, what it said, the previous year you had 68 billion. Now, in that year, 2018, you are making an adjustment. I think it's read it. You are making an adjustment the previous year. Isn't it? Yeah. So making an adjustment, it means you're saying, oh, either I was going to pay somebody wrongly whom I paid, or I had overstated yet it's not true. And that's why we're saying, you internal auditor, what did you do to come to this adjustment?
Mr. Chairman, we have...
Before you come, I want the Auditor General to say.
I wanted to interject before she can come in, because in our accounts, there is a report which we submit every end of 30th June. The internal auditor signs, head of account signs, and the PS signs. It is annexed here, and it is an annex on our accounts. It breaks out the 27 billion, which is in accounts.
We're not bothered about 27, by the way. We're bothered about the movement from 68
to 27. We have the schedule of all the payments we paid.
Exactly. That's why we're asking that boss.
Yes, please.
To help us.
Honour Chair.
No. Let us deal with that case because it's a serious issue.
Yeah, Chair, on that very one, when she explains, she has to make it clear whether there was air supply or not. Because when she will go to those figures, Chair will get lost and you will be following. So let us start whether there was air supply. That's when, I will get lost when you go into your figures, Chair. I want to know whether there was air supply or not. She starts with that, and then we go to the figures. Thank you.
Yes, Chair. Thank you. That the period under review, though I was not around and I didn't sign those outstanding commitments by that time, but I think there was no air supply, according to the way they explained. Because I also had an issue when I was reviewing the accounts and I was asking them, why this drop? Why this drop? But my colleague had signed the previous outstanding commitments and they provided some kind of reconciliation. But I think there was no air supply.
Now, what is this adjustment then? Sure. Because it's an adjustment.
I think there were some errors. There are some errors in there.
Chair, I would like to tell you what happened. Previously, before I moved to that ministry,
that's why we're trying to be fair.
I had my colleague. He was not declaring these areas, and I found it really irregular. So I said, "Okay, you bring all we have, and we declare." That's when we got all this 68 billion, and then we subjected to scrutiny, and then where we had the pressure of being taken to court and what have you, we used other resources to pay, and eventually we had adjusted and came up to that figure. So it was just something which I said, okay, we cannot hide these areas, let us bring them, subject them to scrutiny, and see what we come up with.
Mr. Chairman, when did the accounting officer join Ministry of Works? When did you join the ministry?
That was 2016-17.
And which year are we looking at?
This is 2018-19. But of course it is a build up.
These things are coming from the back. But what we are trying to do is that there's an adjustment. I don't know if we are getting... My person I'm interested in is the internal auditor. What is this adjustment being done? You see an adjustment?
Chair, there was accumulated areas that were recorded.
They were 68.7. Then
now,
you discovered that...
Now people were taking us to court. We are accumulating interest. Now, through his wisdom, accounting officer say, let's pay and reduce on the litigation costs.
That's okay. Now when you pay, it means you don't adjust. It is...
But the areas are no longer 63.
No, you see, prayer commitments paid during the year is only 6.2 but you are saying you paid 50.257. That's what I was saying. Did you pay 50.7 plus 6 or you paid 6.2? Because the 6.2 is the one which is in the what? In the cash flow.
That's what, Mr. Chairman, as I explained, the budget, in 2016-17, we declared 63. 2017-18, we declared 68. During the next financial year, 18-19, finance appropriated 6.2 billion. Out of the 6.2 billion, part of it was pension, part of it was certificates. So when we paid...
No, 6.2 is not, if you go to page 17 of book 2, which is the accounts,
yes,
it is basically domestically, not pension.
Okay. Now, it is okay. The 50, as he had explained to you, the PS was getting pressure.
No, 50, was it a payment? Or
We have a list of all the payments.
Accounting officer, this senior accountant of yours is taking us in the wrong direction. Is it an adjustment or a payment?
We made adjustment to reflect the payments against what you had brought forward.
Is it an adjustment or a payment? It's a payment. So a payment does not go to an adjustment. And now we're looking for this payment came from where? If it's arrears, it should be recorded as payment of 50 point something plus 6. And my problem is my staff, our staff over internal audit who should advise you. Is it a payment or an adjustment?
Chair, there is an area query where we are queried for paying 10 billion using recurrent resources to pay domestic areas. It's an area query. So that was somewhat which came over time. But I can show some of these areas, I could not even believe them. Some of them were as early as 2007 during CHOGM. So you ask, but what have you been doing with these documents here? Bring them, all of them, we give them to the auditors, they look at. And in the process of looking at them, some of them were found they are outdated, or some others were just copies which we threw aside and concentrated on only those where we had the court cases pending. And eventually came up with that one. As I said, we have now 27, which is mainly gratuity for URC pensioners. And in this area, Chair, we are doing quite well as avoiding domestic areas is concerned. That's why I've even told you that we have contracts which we cannot sign because we don't have money. But it was a way of managing something which was not well handled.
So, accounting officer, what we want to clear here is maybe the internal to look. Are you seeing where we are? Yes. Page 58. It is a 50.59 a payment or an adjustment? Let us start with that. Where part?
So there was an element of adjustment and paying using recurrent resources.
Because she has a report, we are going to get the report she got.
Mr. Chairman.
No, let us deal with because you said she has a report. And that's what the report we want to even look at. Have you seen that?
Mr. Chairman, Minister of Works is not very far. Can we give 10 minutes to the auditor to bring the report so that we sort out this now?
I think that's a good idea. Put on the microphone. That's why I wanted you to sit there.
The issue was not on whether it is whether there were no actual commitments. The issue was on the reconciliation. I had an issue with the reconciliation. That drop when I was reviewing, so I was asking why they drop. That's the same explanation they gave me.
But if for you were on the ground, you will have a report to see explanation with the backup. You see why you're saying it, eh? We are starting with 68.7. There's an adjustment of 50.5. You have confirmed it's not air supply. You have said it yourself. But they paid 6.2. So now what we want you to do is, since you have a report, We will give you maybe for you 30 minutes. You
Chair,
get the report.
Chair, I would
No, no, what we do,
I would request that you give us time maybe up to tomorrow.
No, for you it's different.
No, it's okay.
For me, for us, for her, she has her report. She has what we call quarterly what? Quarterly audit reports. For her, we're asking for quarterly reports of 2018-19 and now 18, of 2018-19 and 19-20. She has them down 8 books like this. She makes quarterly reports. We want to see what she did here. So you have one 30 minutes.
Okay, I can.
No, Mr. Chairman, 10 minutes. She can even ring her.
No, she can
office.
call her staff.
Someone can bring it to.
We want to rely on-
It is just
Chair.
a walkout.
Chair.
No, members, let us conclude
Chair.
that. Auditor General, do you rely on the internal audit? Just put on your speaker.
Okay, Chair. Pardon?
Do you rely on the internal audit?
If the information is given,
So you relied on her?
we can rely on it.
Fine.
Yes.
You also want to rely on her. You were relying on you, madam. So we are giving you, because we want to reconcile page 14, where there was a significant decrease, where it is. We are relying on page 17 and on page 38. Because your audit report will clearly show us what they had took what.
So, Mr. Chairman, we are standing over to.
Yes, and we are now waiting. So accounting
Chair, you are waiting up to when? Because you have not given
No,
time.
no, we're given 30 minutes.
Yeah.
For the rest,
30.
we shall deal with our
Maybe she
accounting
will just
officer.
walk
No,
from
accounting
here
officer,
to
we are
work.
protecting you.
You may spend 1 hour.
Well, let me tell you, what we are doing is to ensure that the internal audit helps you. And the law says you depend on the internal auditor. And that's why we're saying now, let us confirm if the internal auditor is helping our accounting officer.
Chair, can I make some submission?
No, just a quick one. I want to quickly finish because we want to go to engineering. Look through
Yeah,
it.
on that one. Chair, you are aware, the law, no, the chair, you have given me chance.
Okay. Now
Chair.
you wanted for 30 minutes, now you're taking
Yeah,
2
30
hours.
minutes. Chair, you are aware it's the accounting officer supposed to provide the documents. And the accounting officer is here. And the jump from here to works, the 30 minutes, you know, me, I will start counting.
No. It's not the accounting officer. We're asking the internal audit who reports to the audit committee. Let me help you. Internal audit does the work. It takes it to audit committee. Then audit committee, they form what we call a report, which is quarterly. And this quarterly report assists the accounting officer and the secretary to treasurer. Okay, just quick. Now, accounting officer, we're about to finish this part which we want your help. On page 18 of book 2, there are your accounts. You are making adjustment to cash. Are you seeing it? Over 6.4 billion. You have seen it? You are making adjustment to cash.
Yes.
And even in the cash book, in page 16, this is 18, and on page 16, you are making an adjustment to 6 points. What happened?
Chair, through my accounting officer, this figure includes balances.
No, we told them third floor and the fifth floor. Okay, ground floor.
It includes balances from our subletting units like our workshop centers, the Meltec, Soroti. Those ones where we sublet funds.
Yeah, that's
which had not been included in our accounts. We are rightly advised by the Auditor General to include them in our accounts.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Notice right, we're saying you included it.
Yeah.
In 2018, you had 6.43 billion.
Yeah.
In 2018-19, you are writing it off.
Because they spent the money.
Huh?
That was money balances as at 30th June. But as Mr. Chairman, you realize you already committed money.
these were committed money, although they had not been spent at the date of 30th June.
That's opening cash balance. So what it means, if it is true you don't write off, it will be opening cash balances in your cash flow on page 17. Then you add it and spend. Then that's why we're saying, why is it a write-off now? Here it looks a write-off. You need to look at it.
We thought you should write off because the money was spent.
What are you know?
We didn't cross it with.
What are you know? What are you know? I saying what we're reading. So what do you say about it?
Yeah, as Auditor General comes in, when we subvent this money to these units, they have ongoing works. So sometimes by the close of the financial immediately, they have ongoing works which they have to complete and then.
We have no problem. Accounting officer was saying you did good to declare it. We are thanking you in 2018. Now we're saying in 2019, you're not spending it, you're just writing it off. That's all. We want to know the movement. Accounting officer, you're doing well. But what we're saying, Engineer Rubwama should assist us. Why is he now writing off instead of saying we spent? And the spending, he knows what to do, the transaction. Not write off. Here you are adjusting. Adjusting means you made a mistake, now you're correcting. You look through it. Do you need time? You're from third floor? Yeah. I'm coming for my OTV. You know, they arrested my pickup. Now, they thought I was carrying people wrong here. Then Kumbe, that man had given me a notice. Then I showed the police, but it means I'm authorized.
I am cancelling for paying.